Guns and perks every season. We seem to get more of them, like Bungie has no idea that I keep a bunch of completely useless garbage in my vault that I don't want to get rid of, so I lack space for new stuff. Very inconsiderate. Normally, season over season, I like to go over every new seasonal weapon and talk about the roles that I would be chasing on them. This season, though, I wasn't in the hugest hurry to put out a video like this because on the PvE side of the game, and also the PvP side of the game, in terms of new guns, not reissued guns, brand new guns, just didn't really feel like there was a whole lot of hype. Even same with the perks, minus, one or two, which we'll discuss. Last season we had a couple of hits, season 13 had a couple of hits, but season 15, not a lot going on. Nothing has really grabbed my attention in a significant way. I think a lot of the reissued weapons are what's getting the attention from people. The prophecy drops, the new world loot drops, stuff like that. But even then, just kind of a couple of things. In terms of actually new things, we have Ascendancy, which is the ritual weapon for the season, which is now definitely better since Explosive Light got readjusted. Servant Leader, it's from Gambit. Peace Bond and Forge's Pledge from Iron Banner. Reed's Regret from Trials. And then the Astral Alignment weapons, which is what we're going to focus on, are Canis Major, a grenade launcher, Iota Draconis, fusion rifle, Wolftone Draw Bow, Fractathyst, the shotgun, Carmelo Anthony, the solar auto rifle, and Vulpecula, the hand cannon. Of all the guns here, the one that interests me the most is Servant Leader. Multiple problems here, though. Number one, it's a Gambit only drop. Number two, you're not guaranteed that it will drop. There are other guns that can drop, or sometimes you get nothing. Number three, the perk pool is massive, and getting the gun that you want, let's say you're trying to replace Randy's throwing knife, so rapid hit kill clip, is an unreasonable request. And number four, scout rifles aren't part of the seasonal artifact this season. I don't want to farm for this thing, even though I would love to have it in Randy's throwing knife form, but I think the odds are just way too against you in an activity that not a lot of people are really enjoying right now. The Astral Alignment weapons, in my opinion, are not really game changers in the grand scheme of the game. Chrysura Melo is a solar auto. The only other one of those that we have is the Summoner, so this just kind of feels like it's filling a gap in the archetype / element hole, although it can roll with some very solid perk combos. Most of the second column are hits. Wolftone draws an arc bow, which I feel like we're overflowing with, but the bow experience hasn't really changed a whole lot in a long time, and Arsenic Bite is still a great option, which has been in the game for years now, along with Point of the Stag. We'll talk about Fractathyst in the PvP section. Vulpecula is a 180 RPM hand cannon, which in my opinion are definitely not for everyone. I personally do not like them at all. I think they're more of a controller based option, at least in PvP. Canis Major is a solar grenade launcher. Not a ton of those out there, there's only a couple, but grenade launchers aren't really the play this season, specifically power ammo using ones. So it's just naturally not gonna really get any attention, and it also doesn't have auto loading, but it does have field prep and clown cartridge available, and it also has Vorpal weapon. So, that's not bad. Iota Draconis is a fusion rifle, sure, but there are about a dozen fusion rifles that are usable right now. I'd say most fusions are usable, and everyone is messing around with all of them. I've seen Null Composure, Cartesian Coordinate, and Zealot's Reward from Garden of Salvation the most out of the three, at least in PvP. I'm not sure I've even seen people using Draconis in any activity at all. In fact, according to DestinyTracker.com's Weapon Insights, none of the Astral Alignment weapons even crack the top 20 in terms of PvE usage among legendary weapons, both primary and special ammo, and only the Fractmeister shows up in PvP in the top 20, although at a very respectable number 2 position. A lot of these guns are basically vehicles for the new perks, so let's talk about those. Ensemble is where you get improved handling and reload speed when allies are nearby. In PvE, this is a mid to low tier perk in my opinion. I only really value it for the reload speed, but most of the good workhorse weapons are probably already going to have some form of a reload speed boost. I personally don't value handling in PvE whatsoever, In PvP, on the other hand, provided that you're actually near other teammates, the handling bonus is something to be considered thanks to the quick draw nerfs from a while back. If you find yourself being a lone wolf, however, then you're maybe not going to get as much use. Adagio is an interesting one. Kills make your weapon fire slower, whether it's RPM, charge speed, or draw speed, and you deal increased damage for a short time. So with that trade-off, you're still getting a slight bump of damage, but in PvP, this can be really disorienting to use, especially with something like a hand cannon. Having that big of a swing on your rate of fire, only for it to swing back to its normal speed mid-combat, is definitely something that will cause some problems and or just not feel very good. That was definitely my issue. It didn't feel good. I think people would prefer a more consistent experience. In PvE, it's a little more manageable, but I think people will also ultimately prefer Kill Clip or Rampage or just a more traditional damage boost. Harmony is something that has a lot more practicality than something like Adagio because you can control it a lot better, and obviously it doesn't change your rate of fire. After getting a kill with a weapon, swapping to another weapon within a couple of seconds will boost your weapon damage for a brief time, about 20%. This is much easier to plan out. You do some primary damage, you get a kill or two, you swap to a special or heavy to go after a bigger target, then you go back to the primary weapon, you do it all over again. I would put this somewhere in the mid tier. Encore is an interesting one, but because it has so much going on, I feel like people just kind of dismiss it, and you shouldn't dismiss it for that reason specifically. Precision kills give you a stacking range bonus up to 3 times. Non-precision kills take away a stack until you have 0, but then when you have 0, you get an accuracy and stability boost. Now, what holds us back in PvP is the duration of the buff. I don't think many people are jazzed for a small range boost for a few seconds unless they're getting it to 3 stacks, which is kind of tough to do consistently game over game. It's much easier to keep that rolling in PvE, but range is not as big of a factor in PvE, in my opinion. You can generally put yourself in the ideal range of most weapons most of the time. Shoot to loot is back, baby. Shooting a brick of ammo, picks it up, and reloads all of your weapons from reserves. This is not a perk I think most people will take seriously, but it is perhaps one that you should. The ability to reload your special and heavy weapons by shooting 1 brick on the ground can give you some pretty interesting burst damage opportunities. It takes a little bit of finesse to pull off, but just don't be shocked if you start seeing some weird shoot to loot stuff going on in some endgame pieces of content. Headstone was something I was very interested in until I realized what guns can actually get the perk. Headstone generates some stasis crystals at the victim's location when you get a precision kill. Now, as I discussed in the Agger's Scepter video, being able to make stasis from guns really lifts the power level of the subclass. It allows you to interact more outside of your abilities. But when my only options are Peace Bond, a sidearm, Vulpecula, the 180 RPM hand cannon, and Reed's Regret, a linear fusion, I'm suddenly much less interested. I'm sorry, sidearm lovers, but I just don't think they're good. I'm not going to use a 180 RPM hand cannon in anything, and I'm not going to use Reed's Regret to spawn stasis. I'm going to use it for boss damage. Agger's Scepter just kicks the crap out of all these guns for the purpose of spawning stasis. I'd rather just build around that. Could you build around these guns? Absolutely. Me personally, I have enough builds. I could totally see a group making a full stasis team build in GM's work with Headstone, though. Honestly, if I were looking to grind out some guns for PvE right now, the first thing I'd suggest doing is looking for a good threaded needle, if you don't have one already, which is a Season 13 drop, so go get back to Battlegrounds. With Particle Deconstruction and Unstoppable Fusion, I think this is going to be a really solid option for GMs, and also, it's a legendary, it's not an exotic. Let's talk some PvP now. I've been doing a lot of PvP lately, way more than usual, and the following weapons are getting a lot of attention this season. The Messenger, Darkest Before, Multi-Mox CCX, Fractathyst, and Main Ingredient. The Messenger is on this list mainly because of Desperado, a perk that we haven't seen in a long time. If you have Desperado procced, then there is very little reason that you should lose a gunfight against another primary weapon. While this weapon does come with other good perks like One for All, Kill Clip, and Frenzy, Desperado is absolutely the perk to get on this gun, without a doubt, especially if you're playing PvP. In the first column, I would be looking for Rapid Hit first and foremost, followed by Zen Moment if you're on a controller, Outlaw if you're just looking for any sort of reload speed perk, and potentially Killing Wind if you're just wanting to keep an alright roll that happens to have Desperado on it. Heating Up is a bit more of a PvE perk. This isn't anything really new to Season 15, but as far as the Trials revamp goes, this weapon has been very popular, and I've been seeing it a lot in quick play as well. Darkest Before is a returning weapon from the Trials of the 9 Days, thrown into the loot pool for Prophecy. You can farm this weapon from the final boss in Prophecy, and there is a way to loop this pretty efficiently, which you can find in the description, but whether or not you bother depends on what kind of player you are. I imagine this farming method is going to range from, oh, that's pretty easy, to, what? No. What? I'm not doing that. No. The perk pool on this weapon isn't even really that great. There's nothing that really wows me here on either side. For PvP, I'd be looking for tunnel vision? Maybe overflow to keep shooting? Second column, you can hunt for Unrelenting, I suppose. Rampage is also going to be fine. Full auto will make this thing very easy to use, and it'll fire just a bit faster as well. But again, you can't farm for this gun specifically, so I imagine a lot of people are just going to deal with whatever they end up getting. Multimach CCX been making some waves recently, or maybe I've just caught on to other guns in PvP since I started playing again. Released in Season 13 as a top-tier PvP selection, although you can only pick one up when Iron Banner's around, and you're at the mercy of completely random drops via tokens. For reference, I played in the most recent Iron Banner, I did all 12 bounties, and I did 41 token turn-ins, and I got 2 SMGs. This is a weapon that truly demands you play within its range, but it'll reward you if you do. I've played with both Iron Reach and Iron Grip on this weapon. Iron Grip is pretty good, boosting your stability while penalizing reload speed, which isn't that big of a deal. Even I managed to get a wee run out of medals with it. Iron Reach, on the other hand, allowed me to engage from much farther away, especially when combined with a zoom scope and accurized rounds. On PC, it didn't even feel like I lost any stability at all, although on console, that might be a different story. You're getting the range of Shayura's Wrath with 50% more bullets via rate of fire. If you manage to find one of these with a lot of range perks on it, I would hold on to it. Fractathyst, the old Fractathyst, is a kinetic stasis shotgun that, along with most other shotguns near its rate of fire, has felt like an inconsistent experience to me. Reese Walker as well, but it's still one I wanted to include due to its popularity. I have not played with shotguns in a while. I'm kind of getting back into using one, and yeah, they're definitely nerfed. However, the perk options on here are not the most tantalizing for PvP, and I don't think there's a huge reason to use this in PvE, at least for anything remotely difficult. The only 2 perks I'd consider in the first column are Quick Draw, maybe, and Slideshot. Second column, you're looking at Adagio, Opening Shot, or maybe Harmony if you can make that work for you. An alternative is a Sudden Death, also from Prophecy, looking for accurized rounds for range, then Slideshot in the first column, and get ready, Elemental Capacitor if you're an Arc user, although not much else really gets me interested. You know, if Fellwinter's Lie, it's still kind of killing it, and if you have Fellwinter's Lie, I feel like you can just kind of keep that one rolling. Main ingredient, and to be honest, most fusions capable of good PvP rolls, is also on the list for PvP. Fusions are good now. They're pretty good in the right hands. I've been seeing them a lot more in Crucible. I think that's great. A roll like Under Pressure and Tap the Trigger works perfectly for the low ammo situation most people will find themselves in while playing PvP, getting the bonus from Under Pressure immediately. You would think high impact reserves as well, but at least on Cartesian coordinate, the bonus damage is rarely going to be the difference maker, only being impactful in the most specific of situations regarding damage and bolts hit versus low resilience players. That's all I got. That's my take on some of the weapon situation going on right now at Season 15. I put some rolls of weapons that I would be looking for in the description in case you just want like a full list of, you know, all the guns and all the perk rolls, stuff like that. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.